Welcome to Seattle Public Utilities Ask Evelyn Live. I'm Gemini Davis. Thank you for joining Recycle Madness, the Madness Mayhem Championship. This month, we're taking a page from the college basketball playbook with Recycle Madness. We're having matchups of the most maddening items to recycle, but in the end, only one can be crowned as champion. As always, Pat and Beck will be here to join in on the trash talking fun. Thank you all for being some of the technical difficulties we were experiencing yesterday. We were very happy to be here today and to get going and to reveal the front four. Hey Pat, how's it going?
Good, Gemini, looking good, man. Good to see you.
Hey. Great. How's it going, Becca?
It's going great. All right.
It is Recycle Madness, people. We're back. We're here. Yeah. It's time.
Madness Mayhem Championship.
Down to the front four. We started out with these four regions, right? We have the plastics region, the paper region, the textiles and housewares, the metal and electrical. We had so many elements. We're down to it. So madness, it's time to crown the champion.
Absolutely. And a quick reminder, like everything on Ask Evelyn, Recycle Madness is powered by your questions. So we crunch the analytics within the last month on the Where Does It Go tool. We factor that in with questions that you sent to askevelyn@seattle.gov. And of course, the large archive of questions that you guys just throw at us when we're out and about in the community. So every time you guys ask questions, because you're super dedicated to sorting your waste properly, we factor that all in. And that's how we ended up with the reveal of who is the most maddening item to recycle in Seattle. So with that, Gemini, let's go and visit our latest matchup, the two winners from the Fraught Four.
For sure. So for the Fraught Four, we had the plastics region represented by plastic envelopes. And we also had them matching up with the textiles and housewares region with the light bulbs. And in the end, this is a very tough battle. Both are very hard to recycle, as there's just so many plastics and there's so many questions around each of them. But in the end, the plastic envelope advances to the championship round.
Woo!
Plastic envelope. I'm not surprised.
It's true. Even though this is a number 6 seed, there is just a lot going on out there. So we're going to come back to this because this one's going to advance to the final championship. But let's talk about what happened here, Pat. What happened with the fluorescent light bulb?
Well, I think for light bulbs in Seattle, there's a little curveball to it. That's how it got to the final, the Fraught Four, right?
Absolutely.
There are different types of light bulbs. There's the old incandescent. There's this version, which is what we're talking about today, this complex fluorescent. And there's also the new LEDs. So with different light bulbs, you have different handling procedures, different options.
Totally. So, and like with everything in Recycle Madness, everything is recyclable. And this item is recyclable, which makes it unique compared to all those other light bulbs that you just talked about, Pat. So fluorescent light bulbs, and you know more about this than I do, is that this is part of the Extended Producer Responsibility Program. So you want to talk about that?
So what's great about that model of managing waste materials, specific materials, are when the agencies involved, like the city and the state, partner with the manufacturers of materials like light bulbs, and they work with them to create a fund to support responsible collection and recycling of an otherwise hazardous content material. There's a little bit of mercury in each one of these compact fluorescent light bulbs, and we do not want that material going into the landfill. We don't want them going to the recycle center for sure, because that's not the proper place for it. And so these are to be collected through our special item pickup option through SPU, or you can go to one of the partner retail outfits out there, businesses that have collection bins for spent lighting. That's what they call it. Not used lighting, spent lighting. Because we spent it all up. It's all empty.
It's all done.
Yeah, it's all done. So it's a great like public-private partnership. I mean, this is one of those things like the Paint Care program. This is the one's called Light Cycle. We have the E-Cycle Washington for electronics and such. This one's called Light Care, Light Cycle, and it's really it's a program that's supported by the manufacturers. It's for responsible recycling. All the components in the light bulb will be broken up within a contained vessel. It's a big device that separates the glass particles from the metal particles, and the mercury itself is actually captured and reused as needed in other components.
And that makes it different than incandescent bulbs, LED bulbs. those all go in the garbage. Fluorescent light bulbs are the only ones that are able to be recycled, either through the special item pickup, $5. We'll come and pick them up at the curb, up to 2 1-gallon bags, or you can find a retail drop-off location at lightrecycle.org, or household hazardous waste. We'll take them for free.
So they made it to the Front Four, but they did not win the semifinal.
It's true. All right. So our next 2 region winners, Gemini, where are we at?
This next matchup was another exciting one. This was the paper region going against metal and electrical.
Oh.
Now, paper, we had the number 2 seeded paper carryout box going against the number 1 seeded gas canister. And as close as they are in rankings, this actually wasn't very much of a contest.
No.
This one you could say was over in the first quarter as the paper carryout box dominated and goes to the championship.
It was over before it started.
Oh my God. It was a complete trouncing, people. So
Yeah.
the gas canisters, what's been really interesting is that they're steel. So, you know, you've heard Pat and I talk about this a lot, about how metal recycling is a great thing to participate in because you can reclaim almost all of this material through the recycling process. There are some incendiary qualities to this particular item. And Pat, why don't we want this in a curbside bin? Why do they need special handling?
Well, yeah, because they could burst and explode and create a really hazardous situation for our collection workers. I mean, we've got folks at the transfer station, individual truck drivers, you got folks at the landfill. I mean, it's just, there's many locations along the line after it leaves your home, after it leaves your business. This is not something that should just be tossed away. It needs to be special item pickup. So that's why we offer that service.
Absolutely. So that's really your option, is if they still have a little bit of gas, which a lot of them do, you can call us up, special item pickup, very similar to fluorescent light bulbs. We also take backpacking isobutyl and isopropane, the smaller canisters for backpacking. We take those $5, up to 2 1-gallon bags. And the reason, like Pat was saying, is that the pressure, the fuel inside is just super dangerous. We don't want to be dealing with that. It should never go in your curbside cart.
We want you to use up the gas, folks. I mean, you bought the gas. You didn't buy the can. You don't want the canister. You wanted the function of what the gas provides. So please use it up. Please run through the entire tank. You know, bleed it dry. Use it all up. Cook that steak. Just char that thing. And also, the other point I want to make is that this program is about these canisters. It is not the tanks, the larger 5-gallon white tanks for like barbecue units, the bigger ones. That is not this program. Those units can go back to the places where you have them filled. There are collection programs for that. So this is just the type of canister and the smaller ones that you mentioned, the butane type ones, through the special item pickup.
Absolutely. But understandable why this was confusing, because they are just a very fancy metal container. There's a lot of metal involved here. And the special item pickup was a new service that we started in 2019. So it's been super popular.
Right.
Okay. So before we get to our championship matchup, we just wanted to say, you know, it's been an amazing month. We have been so excited to bring you Recycle Madness. This has been our first year of trying this out. Thank you to all of you who submitted brackets by March 9th. Those are super fun. I've gotten to look through a couple of those, and we'll be following up with you with some good swag. There's the bracket right there, 32 of the most maddening items to recycle. You guys are just super committed, which has been awesome. So Pat, I did want to ask both you and Gemini, what were some of your favorite upsets to kind of revisit things?
Okay. I thought the toaster had a good run. I was surprised. You know, the toaster representing the household appliances, category. And I just thought, you know, it was pretty obvious that I didn't think it was a very maddening item, but folks really, it really did end up going quite a ways through the bracket.
Absolutely. I think mine that I was really, really interested in was shoes. You know, shoes are things that, even working in this industry and knowing the Thread Cycle program really well, this was the number 1 seed for textiles and housewares. And it makes sense, because I think all of you out there kind of know that it's part of the Thread Cycle program, but are super aware of kind of the mixed materials involved here. And it was fun to delve into a little bit deeper and share that knowledge of like why and how these things can be recycled, either reused as like solid shoes or broken down into their different components. So I don't know, Gemini, any thoughts on reflections on Recycle Madness so far?
Oh, for sure. For me, one of the big surprises was cell phones. And my family, I feel like we just end up keeping a cell phone until someone else needs it. I never know what to do with them. So to see them not get this far is very surprising to me. But that's Recycle Madness for you.
Absolutely. Another really great contender for our special item pickup. So You know, that just is one of those things. I think cell phones, you know, they're small. I mean, I for sure got a drawer full of those things until recently where I'm like, all right, it is time to recycle those babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to mention that for the folks who did submit the brackets,
Yep.
we have special thank you gift going out to you. It'll be some of these bring your own reusable bags that we offer as items for some folks who joined the bracket madness and submitted their brackets. We appreciate the participation. Hope you had fun filling it out and, you know, considering all these different recyclable items and what gave you the most maddening result.
Absolutely. All right. And with that, Gemini, let's check out our final matchup.
Now, for this final matchup, we got to remember that we started off with 32 maddening items across 4 regions. Again, those regions are paper, plastic, textiles and housewares, metal and electrical. They had to go through several rounds to get to this point. Here we are now. It's the paper carry-out box versus the plastic envelope.
That's right. Here they are.
Oh.
Yep.
I have to say, Pat, I mean, I'm not surprised that these two have made it to the championship matchup, right? I mean, there is this right here, baby, this is the trifecta, right? Like, there is mixed materials in here. There is just so much of this out in the waste stream. And
yes.
And
go ahead.
Nope, go for it, Pat.
I'm just like, these are category items as well. You know, we talked about how light bulb is sort of a category. These things, there's quite a few different versions of the plastic envelope out there. And there's definitely a lot of versions of the full top to-go food container out there, the full top box. So that's where the madness comes in. There's so many versions out there, so many like different manufacturers and different brands and such, that's where our Where Does It Go lookup tool gets a lot of hits, a lot of searches on these items. People get confused by it. The other part that comes into play on these are the markings.
Yes.
The manufacturers, the makers of these products, they put different markings on there. They're approved by this association or they're guided by this group, this .org. And so even with all that helpful information, it still ends up providing a little bit of confusion sometimes from certain versions of these containers.
Absolutely. So speaking of that, I know you've got an example of a carry-out box there. Maybe you can walk us through some of those maddening attributes. So the mixed material piece and the markings, what do we got?
Okay, so this is the to-go box, right? Typical, you know, go to the deli department in your grocery store or maybe get a delivery from a restaurant. And this one happens to be fully compostable as well, and it's also recyclable. But what's the challenge is even the recyclable version has like endorsed by the Green Restaurant Association, or it'll say 100% recycled content. And those are all fine and very good attributes to a to-go container that is a single-use item. You know, use it and toss it.
Right.
But what you really want to look for if you're going to be you know, following the guidelines is you want to look at the guidelines and recognize, regardless of what the markings are on a full top box, empty, clean, and dry is what makes it recyclable. So all this stuff on the bottom, all the little labels and markings and things, if it's a cardboard box, it doesn't matter what the lining is, you can recycle it if it's empty, clean, and dry.
Absolutely. And then we've got its matchup here, which is bringing a lot of the same feeling to it, right? We've got some mixed materials, right? We've got kind of this like film outside. We got some bubble wrap action on the inside.
Yes,
we got some like, you know, mailing label
action.
A
little label action.
Lots of different materials here. I mean, this is not accepted in your curbside bin. And a lot of this is, you know, folks, Pat and I talk about if something goes in your commingled bin, it's got to be sortable. It's got to have a market. Right. This item, while it does have a market, is not sortable. You know, it's flexible. Really, any flexible materials not accepted in your commingled cart. In lots of other aspects of life, flexibility is key, very important. When it comes to commingled recycling, we want to be rigid, people. We don't want to be flexible. So that's something to think about here. And then we've got some of these markings, right, Pat? Very similar to the fold top box, right?
Yeah. Right. I mean, that's, you know, again, that's a helpful indication. But if you look at the detail, it's a drop off. It'll say right on there, drop off. So it's not a blue bin recyclable. It's fully recyclable through your in-store drop bin option. So really, you have to see within the Where Does It Go guide, within the lookup tool, within your at home Where Does It Go guide, you can look for the information and recognize that the plastic film, plastic bags, bubble wrap, and bubble envelopes like these, that's all the same kind of substrate of plastic. It all can be put together in a plastic bag, taken to the grocery store, and put into that plastic bag recycle bin at the front of the store.
Absolutely. So with all of that super close matchup, Gemini, who's our winner?
You both make strong cases for each of these items, but in the end, we can only have one champion. And the Ask Evelyn Live Recycle Madness champion for 2022 is, or the most maddening item to recycle in Seattle is, the plastic envelope.
Oh my God.
Woo!
Okay, scoring the most lookups, the most questions, the most maddening curveball for our consumers, for our residents, is the plastic envelope. That comes in many brands. We have me holding the Blue and White Company brand right now, but the point is there are many plastic envelopes out there. They come from many different home delivery companies and such. A lot of them are on the Blue and White brand, but they're all recyclable if, like you said, Becca, if the labels aren't too huge. That's another guideline on the plastic envelope. You can't have, I mean, it's a plastic envelope, but if there's a label that's as big as this size, then that really adds a lot of contamination to the plastic recycling. So,
Totally.
So yeah, plastic envelopes, recycle those.
And there's also, I think what also has contributed to the madness of these is kind of two things. There's also the paper and bubble wrap envelope out there. Those are garbage. Those are not recyclable. That's mixed material. Pat, you got an example there? Oh yeah.
I don't have a full bubble, but on the inside of an envelope like this, you'll see bubbles on the inside.
Yep.
You know, a layer of plastic, and that's glued in there. That's what they call, combining materials. That is not. The little bit of paper label on the plastic is okay. The bubbles on the inside of the paper, not recyclable. Okay. Neither material would be. So yeah, good point.
Absolutely. And also industry-wide, we used to take a lot of flexible plastics. We would take plastic. There is a market for it, but what we have found is that it created so many problems in the sortation process at the MRFs that really a retail take-back location is a way to keep this commodity clean enough to be valuable into that end market. So that
the end markets, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I absolutely go for it, Pat.
I was just saying, and the end markets are oftentimes locally here in our region. It's Trex lumber or other types of plastic lumber or plastic material like that. So they are buying from this collection of plastic film recycle bins at front of store. And a lot of people don't realize this. You see one bin at the front of the store, there's probably 2 or 3 bins back of house at the grocery store. Because everything is being delivered with all of this shrink wrap around the pallet loads, all the case packs and all the, instead of a huge cardboard box delivering, 24 different packages of paper towels or whatever, they're just wrapping the whole thing in plastic now. So there's a lot of case wrap, shipping wrap, pallet wrap, a lot of that's back of house. So grocery stores are a great partner for us in this drop-off program for plastic envelopes.
Absolutely. And I mean, you guys, we are so excited that, you guys were responsible for picking the 32 items that went into this championship. And definitely keep those questions coming. Even though we're wrapping up Recycle Madness for 2022, the more you look stuff up on the Where Does It Go tool, there's now a feedback form on that. You send us questions to askevelyn@seattle.gov. And when we're out and about, you ask all kinds of questions. We love hearing from you guys because it's super helpful and it's great. Waste nerds unite, people. Yes, it's good to know that you have found your trash talking tribe. So keep those questions coming. While we will be wrapping up Recycle Madness with this show, we will be back next week for, Ask Evelyn Live, where we're going to be answering all of your questions. Look everything up on the Where Does It Go tool because that is really the most up-to-date. I work on the team that actually keeps that current. That feedback form, we check it every week and we make updates to the tool to make it even better. So,
hey, I want to give a big shout out to Gemini. Thanks so much for hosting the show. This is a great contest. It's a 4 or 5 week thing. But you go back to like the reveal week we had, and we opened up the bracket and informed everybody what were the items. And each week you're controlling the board and making sure to keep us on track. So thanks for all your on-screen help.
It was a true pleasure, Pat, and to anything that involves brackets and utilities, combining those together, I was going to take
that. Great overlap there.
Yes, very happy to be part of this, and thank you both for just being such a great team to work with.
Oh man, we are going to be making sure that you are in front of the camera a whole bunch more. And thanks to Katie Dillon, who's our behind the scenes production as well,
Yes,
who
Katie.
keeps it coming every week. Gemini, you and Katie, you guys keep it together. So thank you guys so much. All right, folks, quick reminder, keep looking things up on the Where Does It Go tool. We'll have links to all that stuff in our show notes. You'll get all that information of all of the stuff, special item pickup, lightrecycle.org, all that stuff we're throwing at you. You can always find it on the Where Does It Go tool. So, all right, we'll see you next week, Wednesday, 1:30, Instagram Live, people. And with that, I'm Becca Fong, and life's simpler with less stuff.
And I'm Pat Kaufman. Remember to recycle right.
I'm Gemini Davis. Ensure your waste goes to the right place. And thanks again to everyone who joined us for Recycle Madness this month.
All right.